The morning sun blazed over the Sky Fleet Aviation headquarters, its reflection glinting off the glass walls of the hangar. Inside, dozens of employees scurried about, preparing for the biggest event of the year, the launch of the company's newest luxury helicopter, the Skyhawk X9. Reporters had gathered, investors were already sipping champagne, and photographers were setting up their cameras to capture the grand unveiling. At the center of it all stood Ethan Blake, the company's young and famously arrogant CEO. At 35, he had everything: money, looks, and a reputation for being ruthless in business. His black suit was sharp, his confidence unshakable. He looked like a man who had never known failure. But that was about to change. A single dad in the shadows. Across the hangar, sweeping the floor near the tool racks, was Liam Carter, a single father and part-time janitor. His uniform was old, his shoes worn, but his eyes steady and intelligent told another story. He'd once been a mechanic in the Air Force, but after his wife's sudden death, he had to quit to raise his 5-year-old son, Noah. With bills piling up and no one to help, Liam had taken any job he could find, including this one, cleaning hangars for minimum wage. He wasn't bitter, though. Every night, he told Noah that one day, things would get better. The malfunction. Ladies and gentlemen, Ethan's voice boomed through the microphone. Today, you witness the future of aviation, the Skyhawk X9. Applause filled the room as the gleaming silver helicopter came to life. Its blades began to spin slowly, the engine roaring. But within seconds, a strange rattling sound echoed through the hangar. The crowd gasped. Suddenly, black smoke puffed from the rotor. The helicopter's engine sputtered and died. Technicians ran forward, shouting to each other. Ethan's face turned red with fury. What the hell happened? He barked. Do something. We have investors watching. One of the engineers stammered, Sir, the hydraulic pressure system, it's failing. The backup valve isn't responding. Ethan clenched his jaw. Fix it. Now. But no one moved. The part that failed was custom made, and the backup system was still being tested. The engineers exchanged worried glances. This was a disaster. And that's when Liam quietly stepped forward. Sir, I might be able to help. Ethan turned toward the janitor, his brows furrowed. You, help. You're a janitor, not a mechanic. Liam nodded respectfully. Used to be an aircraft mechanic, sir. In the Air Force. I've seen systems like this before. If you give me 15 minutes, I think I can get it running. Laughter rippled through the room. One of the investors smirked. Oh, this should be good. The janitor's gonna fix the multi-million-dollar helicopter. Ethan folded his arms, sarcasm dripping from his voice. All right, Mr. Janitor. Tell you what, if you fix this helicopter, I'll kiss you right now in front of everyone. The crowd burst into laughter. Phones came out to record the scene, but Liam didn't flinch. He simply replied, Then you better start practicing, sir. The laughter died instantly. The fix ignoring the cameras and whispers, Liam walked to the helicopter. He climbed onto the maintenance ladder, his movements calm and precise. He asked one of the mechanics for a wrench, then a screwdriver. At first, they hesitated, but something about his steady tone made them obey. Within minutes, he'd removed a small access panel near the rotor housing. His sharp eyes caught at a loose hydraulic coupling that had been installed backward. A mistake so small, yet dangerous enough to cause the entire system to fail. He muttered under his breath, no wonder the pressure's dropping. As Ethan watched impatiently, Liam used a piece of tubing from a discarded fuel line. Modified the connection, and tightened it with a makeshift seal. His hands moved fast but steady, every motion backed by years of experience. The crowd was silent now. Reporters lowered their cameras, completely transfixed. 10 minutes later, Liam stepped down from the ladder, wiping his hands on his uniform. Try it now, he said. The chief engineer hesitated, then flipped the switch. The engine roared back to life, smooth, strong, and perfect. The helicopter spun its blades gracefully, no smoke, no noise, no error. A wave of disbelief swept through the hangar. Then applause. The CEO's silence. Ethan's jaw dropped. He blinked, as if trying to process what had just happened. The janitor, the man he'd mocked in front of everyone, had just saved the company's most important day. Investors clapped, reporters took pictures, and someone shouted, he fixed it. The janitor fixed it. Liam smiled humbly and started walking away. He didn't care about applause, he had to get home soon. It was almost time to pick up Noah from school, but Ethan stepped in front of him, his pride crumbling. "Wait," Ethan said, his voice quieter now. "How did you even know what was wrong?" Liam shrugged slightly. "Hydraulic systems are like people, sir. When something's under too much pressure, it leaks where it's weakest." That line hit deeper than expected. For a moment, Ethan had no comeback. Just a faint look of shame. The unexpected turn a few minutes later, after the event resumed, Ethan found himself replaying the moment in his mind. Every mocking word he'd said now burned in his throat. When the reporters asked him how he felt about the janitor's heroic repair, Ethan did something no one expected. He walked straight up to the podium, adjusted the mic, and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to meet the man who just saved Skyfleet's future, Liam Carter." The crowd erupted in applause again. Ethan turned toward Liam, who was still standing in the corner, awkwardly holding his broom. "And about what I said earlier," Ethan continued with a smirk. "A promise is a promise." The audience laughed again, but this time, the tone was warm, not cruel. Ethan walked up, placed a respectful pat on Liam's shoulder, and said softly, "You've earned more than a joke, Mr. Carter. You've earned a job." From janitor to engineer. 2 weeks later, Liam wasn't cleaning floors anymore. He was standing in a new uniform, chief maintenance engineer, Skyfleet Aviation. His new office overlooked the hangar where everything had happened. His salary tripled overnight, but the real reward came every evening when he came home to Noah. "Dad." The boy cheered as Liam entered their small apartment. "Did you fix another helicopter today?" Liam chuckled, scooping him into his arms. "Not today, buddy, but I helped design one." Noah's eyes went wide. "You're like Iron Man." Liam smiled, ruffling his son's hair. "Something like that. A change of heart." As weeks passed, Ethan began to spend more time in the hangar, watching how Liam worked. He saw something he'd never understood before: humility combined with mastery. Liam never showed off, never complained, and never took credit he didn't deserve. He simply worked hard and helped others. It was something Ethan, in his world of luxury and ego, had almost forgotten. One evening, Ethan asked him, "Why didn't you tell anyone you were an Air Force mechanic? You could have had this job from day one." Liam smiled faintly. "I tried once. The HR manager said they needed cleaners more than engineers. So I just did what I had to." Ethan sighed, guilt creeping into his voice. "Sometimes, people like me forget that titles don't define skill. I was wrong about you." "You weren't wrong," Liam said quietly. "You just hadn't looked close enough." Recognition. Months later, during the annual company gala, Ethan called Liam to the stage once again. "This man reminded us all that greatness can come from anywhere," Ethan said, his voice steady with respect. "He saved our company not just with his hands but with his heart." The audience stood, clapping thunderously. Liam, uncomfortable under the spotlight, just smiled humbly. After the ceremony, Ethan handed him an envelope. "What's this?" Liam asked. Ethan grinned. "A scholarship for your son. Full education fund. Consider it a small thank you from Skyfleet." Liam froze, overwhelmed. For a man who had once cleaned the hangar floors, it was more than he could have imagined. "Thank you, sir," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "You didn't have to." Ethan shook his head. "No, Liam, I had to. Because that day, when you fixed that helicopter, you didn't just fix a machine. You fixed my pride." Epilogue. Years later, the story of the janitor who saved Skyfleet became legendary. It was even featured in business magazines as a lesson in humility and leadership. Liam eventually rose to become the head of technical operations, overseeing a team of hundreds. Yet he never forgot where he started. Every time he passed by a janitor sweeping the hangar floor, he would stop, smile, and say, "Thank you for keeping this place running." And in his office, beside a framed photo of Noah, sat a small brass plaque engraved with Ethan's old joke, "Fix this helicopter, I'll kiss you right now." Beneath it, someone had added, "He did and changed everything." Moral of the story: never underestimate anyone based on their uniform or title. Respect, skill, and dignity don't come from rank, they come from character.